Most people think a heart-healthy breakfast is about one thing, avoiding sugary cereals. But for those of us over 60, the real story is far more about the sequence and timing of your entire morning routine. The what, when, and how you start your day can be more powerful than the specific food on your plate. This matters because that morning sequence directly influences your energy levels, how steady your blood pressure is, and even how well your medications can do their job. It affects how confident you feel walking up a flight of stairs, how clear-headed you are for your morning errands, and ultimately, your ability to live independently and fully. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 4 simple, science-backed breakfast rules that many cardiologists practice themselves. We'll explore the simple science behind each one, so you understand why it works. We'll make it practical, with simple swaps and ideas you can use tomorrow morning. And I encourage you to stay with me, because the final rule, number 1, is the one that is most often overlooked, yet it has the biggest impact on managing blood sugar and cholesterol throughout the entire day. At the end, I'll also give you a simple action plan to get started without feeling overwhelmed. This isn't about scare tactics or extreme diets. It's about gentle, powerful adjustments that large studies suggest can make a real difference. Building new habits can feel like a challenge, but you don't have to do it alone. If you find this kind of calm, practical health information helpful, I invite you to subscribe and join our community. Let me know in the comments one thing you find challenging about your mornings. Maybe it's stiffness or that first wave of fatigue. We can all learn from each other. Rule number 4, the 16-ounce water welcome. Before the coffee maker even gets a thought, before the kettle whistles, the very first thing to pass your lips should be water. Specifically, about 16 ounces or 2 regular-sized glasses. Many heart doctors make this a non-negotiable part of their morning. Here's the simple mechanism. As you sleep, you lose water through breathing and perspiration. You wake up in a state of mild dehydration. When you're dehydrated, your blood volume slightly decreases, which makes your blood a tiny bit thicker or more viscous. This means your heart has to pump a little harder to circulate that thicker blood throughout your body. For a heart that's already working to stay strong, this adds an unnecessary layer of strain first thing in the morning. Rehydrating immediately with a glass or 2 of water helps restore that blood volume. It makes the blood less viscous, easing the workload on your heart and improving circulation to your brain and muscles. Think of it like adding a little water to thick gravy to help it flow better. This simple act can also have a stabilizing effect on your blood pressure, which often has its own natural rhythm and can be higher in the mornings. The relatable scenario is that feeling of waking up groggy, a bit fuzzy-headed, with a dry mouth. Often, we interpret that as a need for caffeine, but more often than not, it's a signal of dehydration. Answering that signal with water instead of coffee sets a completely different tone for your cardiovascular system for the rest of the day. The practical step is to make it effortless. Tonight, before you go to bed, place a covered glass of water on your nightstand. When you wake up, before your feet even hit the floor, drink it. Room temperature water is often easiest on the system first thing, but cool is fine if you prefer. Some people enjoy a squeeze of lemon, which can help wake up your digestive system, but plain water is perfect. The goal is simply to rehydrate your body and give your heart an easier start. A quick safety note. If you are on a fluid restriction for a condition like congestive heart failure or kidney disease, it is absolutely essential that you stick to the daily fluid amounts prescribed by your doctor. This general advice is for those without such restrictions. Always follow your specialist's guidance. So, once your body is hydrated and your circulatory system has been given a gentle, helping hand, we move to the next step, which happens before you even sit down at the breakfast table. Rule number 3. Move before you munch. Our next rule might feel a little counterintuitive. The common habit is to wake up, sit down for breakfast, and then start our day. But cardiologists who are on top of metabolic health know that a few minutes of gentle movement before you eat can fundamentally change how your body processes your meal. The mechanism here is all about something called insulin sensitivity. Think of your muscle cells as little houses with locked doors. Insulin is the key that unlocks those doors to let glucose, or blood sugar from your food, inside to be used for energy. As we age, sometimes those locks get a bit rusty, and it takes more and more insulin to get the doors open. This is called insulin resistance, and it's a major driver of high blood sugar, inflammation in our blood vessels, and eventually, heart disease. When you do just 5 to 10 minutes of light physical activity before breakfast, you are essentially waking up those muscle cells. The movement tells them, "Get ready, fuel is coming." This makes the cell doors much more receptive to insulin. So when you do eat your breakfast, the glucose from that food is whisked out of your bloodstream and into your muscles much more efficiently, preventing a big, damaging spike in your blood sugar. A smoother, more stable blood sugar level is much, much kinder to your arteries. The scenario we want to avoid is eating a meal, maybe toast or cereal, and then an hour or two later feeling sluggish, tired, and maybe even a little shaky. That's the classic blood sugar roller coaster. A little movement beforehand helps flatten that curve, giving you more stable, sustained energy. The practical steps are simple and safe. This is not about a sweaty, high-intensity workout. The goal is just to get the blood flowing. You could march in place while waiting for the kettle to boil. You could do some gentle arm circles and leg swings while holding onto the back of a sturdy chair. Or you could simply walk to the end of your driveway and back to get the newspaper. Even 5 minutes of light stretching on a floor mat counts. The key is to do it before your first bite of food. Now for a quick myth bust. You may have heard that you need to do intense, fasted cardio in the morning to burn more fat. For seniors, that is often not the goal and can even be risky. The real prize here is not weight loss, but metabolic flexibility and blood sugar control. Gentle, safe movement is far more effective and sustainable for protecting your heart in the long run. And as always, if you have any balance issues or dizziness, make sure you're holding onto a stable surface like a kitchen counter. So we've hydrated our system and primed our muscles. Now our body is ready for fuel. But before we eat, let's talk about that beloved morning ritual, coffee or tea. Rule number 2, the 90-minute caffeine delay. This rule will be the hardest for many, but the science behind it is compelling. The advice is to delay your first cup of coffee or tea for about 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up. Here's the simple mechanism. Your body has its own natural, built-in wake-up system, driven by a hormone called cortisol. You might know cortisol as the stress hormone, but in the morning, it plays a healthy, vital role. Your cortisol levels naturally peak within the first hour of waking up. This is what helps you feel alert and ready to start the day. If you introduce caffeine while your cortisol is already at its peak, 2 things happen. First, the caffeine doesn't give you as much of a bang for your buck because your body is already naturally stimulated. It's like turning on a lamp in a room where the sun is already brightly shining. Second, and more importantly, your body can start to rely on the caffeine instead of its own cortisol surge, which can lead to a greater tolerance over time. You start needing more and more coffee just to feel normal. By waiting 90 minutes, you allow your natural cortisol peak to happen. You let your body's own system wake you up. Then, as your cortisol naturally starts to dip, you introduce the caffeine. It provides a much smoother, more effective lift in energy and alertness, without the jittery feeling or the dreaded mid-morning crash. Furthermore, drinking caffeine on a completely empty stomach can, For some people, cause a temporary spike in blood pressure and heart rate. Having it after you've hydrated, moved, and had some food is much gentler on the system. If you're finding this kind of detailed, practical health advice helpful, a quick tap on the subscribe button helps our community of informed seniors grow. Thank you for that. The relatable scenario here is that person who says, "Don't even talk to me until I've had my coffee." That's often a sign of caffeine dependence, where the coffee is just getting you back to a baseline level of function. By timing it better, the coffee becomes a tool for enhanced focus rather than a crutch to get out of a fog. Now, putting this into practice can be tough. So here is a simple, three-step action plan to try it out without feeling deprived. First, for 1 week, just focus on rule number 4, the water. As soon as you wake up, drink your 2 glasses of water, but then have your coffee as you normally would. Just build that one habit. Second, the following week, continue with your water, and then add in rule number 3, the 5 to 10 minutes of gentle movement. After you move, have your coffee. You're still not delaying it, just changing the sequence. Third, in week 3, after your water and your movement, try to push your first cup of coffee or tea back by just 30 minutes. See how you feel. The next week, try for 60 minutes. This gradual approach allows your body to adapt. Think of it as a personal experiment. The goal is to work with your body's natural rhythms, not against them. A quick safety note: caffeine can interact with certain medications, including some for blood pressure. A quick chat with your pharmacist about the best timing can be very reassuring. And now, for the main event, the breakfast plate itself. This brings us to the number 1 rule, the one that, if you only change one thing about what you eat, should be this. Rule number 1, build your breakfast around fiber and protein, not carbs. The single most powerful shift you can make for your heart health at breakfast is to change your focus. Instead of asking, "What carbohydrate will I have?" like toast, cereal, or a muffin, ask, "What is my source of fiber and protein?" Let's break down the mechanism. It's a 2-part punch. First, fiber, particularly soluble fiber. This is the kind found in foods like oatmeal, chia seeds, flax seeds, apples, and beans. Think of soluble fiber as a sponge in your digestive system. As it moves through your gut, it soaks up cholesterol and bile acids and helps carry them out of the body. This forces your liver to pull more cholesterol from your bloodstream to make new bile, which can directly help lower your LDL, or bad, cholesterol numbers. Insoluble fiber, found in nuts and whole grains, adds bulk and helps keep you regular, which is crucial for overall health and managing inflammation. The second part of the punch is protein. When you start your day with a significant dose of protein, aiming for 20 to 25 grams, you achieve 2 critical things. First, protein is incredibly satiating. It keeps you feeling full and satisfied for hours, which dramatically reduces the temptation to reach for a sugary snack mid-morning. Second, eating protein alongside any carbohydrates you have slows down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. This, again, prevents those sharp, inflammatory blood sugar spikes and provides smooth, steady energy. The all-too-common scenario is eating a bowl of healthy bran flakes or a slice of white toast with jam. It's mostly refined carbohydrates. Your blood sugar shoots up, your body releases a big surge of insulin to deal with it, and 90 minutes later your blood sugar crashes, leaving you feeling hungry, tired, and foggy-brained. A breakfast built on fiber and protein completely short-circuits this cycle. So let's make this incredibly practical. Your target for breakfast is at least 7 to 10 grams of fiber and 20 grams of protein. That might sound like a lot, but it's very achievable. Let's build a few Heart Doctor-approved breakfasts. Option 1, the Oatmeal Power Bowl. Start with a half cup of old-fashioned rolled oats, not the instant sugary packets. That gives you about 4 grams of fiber. While it's cooking, stir in 1 tablespoon of chia seeds or ground flaxseed. That adds another 3 to 5 grams of fiber, plus healthy omega-3 fats. For protein, you could stir in a scoop of unflavored protein powder or eat it alongside 2 hard-boiled eggs. Top with a handful of berries for more fiber and antioxidants, and a few walnuts for healthy fats. Option 2. The savory scramble. Scramble 2 or 3 eggs with a big handful of spinach. Eggs are a fantastic protein source. Serve this with a side of 1/4 of an avocado, which is packed with healthy fats and fiber, on 1 single slice of dense, whole grain or sourdough bread. This plate is balanced with protein, healthy fat, and fiber leading the way. Option 3. The Greek yogurt parfait. Start with a cup of plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt, which can pack up to 20 grams of protein. Stir in a tablespoon of those powerhouse chia seeds. Then, layer it with a half cup of high-fiber raspberries or blueberries. For a little crunch, add a sprinkle of sliced almonds or walnuts. It's fast, easy, and hits all the right notes. A very important safety note here. If you are taking a blood thinner like warfarin, green leafy vegetables like spinach and kale are high in vitamin K, which can interfere with the medication. It doesn't mean you can never eat them, but you must be consistent with your intake and discuss it with your doctor to ensure your dosage is correct. And if you're not used to eating a lot of fiber, increase your intake slowly over a week or 2, and be sure to drink plenty of water to avoid any digestive discomfort. Putting these 4 rules together, hydrating first, moving gently, timing your caffeine, and building your plate around fiber and protein, creates a morning routine that is a powerful, daily act of self-care for your heart. So, let's bring it all together. This isn't about achieving perfection overnight. It's about a gentle, consistent shift in your morning flow. Wake up and hydrate your system. Move your body gently to prepare it for fuel. Wait just a bit for that first cup of coffee or tea. And then, sit down to a meal that prioritizes fiber and protein to give you stable, lasting energy. Each of these steps, done consistently, contributes to better blood pressure regulation, healthier cholesterol levels, and more stable blood sugar. It translates to feeling more vibrant, more clear-headed, and more in control of your health every single day. The goal is progress, not a rigid, stressful set of rules. I will link to some easy-to-read sources about these topics in the description below. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 4 rules feels like the most interesting or manageable one for you to try first? Is it adding the 2 glasses of water, the gentle movement, delaying your coffee, or rebuilding your breakfast plate? Let us all know in the comments below. Sharing your first step can inspire someone else to take theirs. If this video has been helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Every time you do, you help another person over 60 find calm, trustworthy health guidance. Stay well, stay informed, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.